Yeah, first of all, just thanks to all our fans that came out for Fan Day. Um, Really an enjoyable experience for our players and our coaching staff. It's really fun to work and live in a place that um, appreciates and values all the hard work our kids put in and supports our program. So always a fun part of the year when we get to do that. This morning we had our mock game, or we just finished up our mock weekend, which I think is pretty important for us this year. It's important every year, but given the number of newcomers that will probably play early in the season, I thought it was a good exercise for us to go through our meetings and pregame rituals, and then really work game operation in that mock scrimmage. And the kids handled it well. They did a good job, stayed focused. They will be off tomorrow, and then we'll be back at it Tuesday. Right, tomorrow's Monday. Tuesday. We'll be back at it and getting ready for the game. So, questions?
Can you first take us through sort of the preparation for an opponent when they have a new coaching staff? I'm sure have an idea of what they're going to run, but not like when you play somebody that's been established for 10 years. What has that process been like?
Well, it just takes a little bit more legwork. You have to piece things together. For instance, you watch Florida State film for personnel, and then you watch where the coordinators have been from or what they've historically done for scheme, and then you try and match those two together. So the good news is, you've got, when it's the first game, you've got plenty of time to kind of comb through all that. The bad news is you haven't seen the two of them, those two things together on film, because they obviously haven't played a game this year. So it just takes a little bit more, just kind of a little more legwork there.
Defensively, what do you expect from Florida State? Where do you see their strengths based on combining those two things?
Well, I mean, from what I've read and what I've seen, I think they're going to be pretty deep and athletic. They've a pretty accomplished secondary and defensive line. Maybe a little bit less experienced. Maybe doesn't mean that they're less talented, but a little bit less experienced at linebacker. Play a lot of tight coverage. I think there's going to be a lot of gimmies out there, just historically, both from Florida State in the past and with their new coordinator and the scheme we anticipate. I think there'll be guys in there in the secondary down there tight.
West Virginia last season gave you a taste of what a marquee opener, so to speak, is like. But if I have my research right, this is only the second time in your coaching career you've opened up with a conference game. And with the advent of the ACC Network, there may be more of that in the future. Do you like opening against a conference opponent?
Well, I would say this. It would not be my first choice, quite honestly. But I'm not going to pout about it. I understand the things that we'll need to do to continue to build up the network. I understand some of the requirements that come with it. So, no, if I was picking, I would probably not choose that. But also kind of get it and kind of understand why there may be in the future some more early season conference games.
You've spoken about wanting to see an improvement in the running game. Brad's been in here and talked about it. When you look at that, what do you have to see to know an improvement there? Is it a yards per game, yards per carry, explosive plays? Or is there just like a feel that you have that you know that things are better?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is just our overall efficiency. I think when you're running the ball on first and 10, in order for that to be an efficient play, it needs 4 yards or more, and that's starting on the chains. That's on pace to make first downs and move the ball down the field. And obviously on 3rd and 2, it doesn't require 4 yards for it to be efficient according to our statistics or our computation. So for me, it's can we be more efficient? Can we create some bigger plays? You know, that's something we've talked about. Can we get the ball to the edge and get the ball to the unblocked hat and make that person miss? Can we run the ball on the inside and get the ball to the unblocked hat and make that person miss? And then do we finish forward? And I think, quite honestly, we have not finished forward. You know, those extra 2 or 3 yards from finishing forward, I think, are important in terms of staying on the chains and being able to be efficient running the football.
How do you feel about the chemistry of the offense kind of coming along with, you know, Josh back, obviously, but a lot of new pieces, a lot of, you know, young guys. I mean, how do you feel about the overall chemistry kind of with 1 week to go before the opener?
Just on that side of the ball? I feel pretty good about it. I think it's a group that's hungry for improvement. You know, I feel like there's a good mix of a couple older offensive linemen with some young guys, and then there's some younger players that have played, you know, that have kind of been through it. They're maybe a little bit more seasoned than their age would suggest. So I feel good about that part of it, like those guys and their communication ability and Josh's ability to handle the moment and get things communicated to our guys and their kind of give and take on that side.
Coach, after a year, just through your experience, what are a couple of things after a wide receiver has a year in your system are you looking for that they can build on? What can a year just do to a wide receiver in a game plan?
Well, I mean, the first thing is when you're talking about going from being a true freshman to a sophomore is different than a junior to a senior. I mean, some of the gains you can make physically that can really help you be a much better player are really important from your freshman to sophomore year. And we've talked about this, that we've put some guys out there that were really, really green. And they've got a whole year of lifting and training that I hope helps them in the long run from just a physical standpoint. You hope, too, that the longer they're in the system, the more versatile they become. You'd like to have guys that you can continue to move around at different spots because of their knowledge base in the system. You know, that they're not just worried about their one piece of the puzzle, but they have a bigger overall perspective or understanding of everything that goes on. So, there's a physical aspect of it, there's the mental aspect of it, and then there's a level of confidence in playing at that level that I think is important, that sometimes can only come with some experience.
We've asked you about Stephen Peoples a couple times in the past. What do you like about him as a runner, like more than anything?
As a runner or a person?
Person, too, if you want to answer.
Well, first of all, as a person, everything he does as hard as he can possibly go. And there's just no cruise control. There's no, he's just all out. As a football player, he understands his identity. You know, he is a strong, tough runner that the first crease he sees, he takes. He doesn't wait on it for the next best opportunity to come up. If there's a glimmer in there, he's punching a hole in it. And he runs with great pad level, and he is as strong as a bull. And I really believe he has a chance to be really productive. He never says a word either, which is kind of nice. You know, like he's just quiet. And occasionally we like some of those quiet players.
A couple more. You've talked about, on the other side of the ball, your young linebackers, your young corners, some youth at one of the safety spots. When you're playing a team that you don't exactly know what they're going to run, is that an added level of concern? Because you would think there'll be some adjustment in-game by Bud on the fly. And how do you think that group will handle that?
Well, the first game of the year, you never exactly know what you're going to get anyway. So, but in short, the answer to your question is yes. The more people with more experience you have, the easier it is to make adjustments and handle the unknown. And the less experience you have and the less knowledge base you have makes it harder to handle the unknown in real time. So, I mean, that's that's true whether it's at safety or at quarterback or wide receiver, really at any position. You know, when you have inexperienced players, there's just handling the unknown and seeing them take adjustments and make adjustments because their knowledge level may or may not be up to par with Terrell and Tremaine Edmonds, and that's just kind of part of it.
You mentioned Ashby before. Does it seem like a group, though, that does take that kind of coaching quickly, or not? Or there's some guys yes, some guys no?
Yeah, I mean, Ray Shard is an exceptional learner and can apply those things really, really well. You know, and they're all at a different level. So, but I would say Ray Shard's exceptional.
Coach, at this point, what are you most confident in with regards to your offense? If it's a critical situation in the game and you need 3 yards, what direction are you going to go?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure I know how to answer that question. What do I feel? I feel good about a lot of things. I feel good that they're in the process of preparing, and you know, hopefully we can push the ball down the field. Hopefully we can change tempos in the game. Hopefully we can run and protect the quarterback. So you know, I'm optimistic we'll be able to do those things, and we'll see as the season plays out.
Justin, what as a group led the ACC coaches to discontinue the injury reports this year? Did y'all just not trust each other? No, seriously, do you guys think people were fudging on it?
Well, I think it was a little bit more along the lines of we want it to all be the same in terms of from league to league, from coach to coach, from across the country. We just wanted it to be the same. I think that was the underlying theme. I don't think it was a vote of protest as much as it was, hey, we think all these should be the same. Whatever everybody else is doing is what we want to do, and then if we all need to make a change, then we'll all make a change. I think it was a little more along those lines.
Without specifics for injuries, are you guys, with 4 less practices you've talked about a lot with fall camp, and you've kind of balanced some guys that are coming off injuries, how's the kind of the roster as a whole? Are you feeling better about kind of the health going in because you've had less practices? I mean, how do you balance that? And I think Tisdale's the only guy we really know that's out, but I mean, how do you feel about the health kind of overall going into week 1?
I feel pretty good. I don't know if it's because we've practiced 4 less times. But we still have plenty of practices left, so I don't want to jinx it. So, but I feel pretty good so far.
Last one for Coach.
Coach, you mentioned earlier some of the goals you have for the improvement of your running game. What have you seen from some of your top backs, and do you feel you have the guys to kind of reach those goals of improving your running game's overall efficiency?
Well, I've been pleased with Deshaun's offseason. He came on and played pretty well towards the end of the year last year. He's added some more weight. Has looked good through camp. Steven, we didn't have for a portion of the year at least. Felt like maybe more than just a portion, but I've been pleased with him. And then Holston and Wheatley have really been battling it out for that next spot. And Terrius has made some improvements. He brings some things in terms of his overall speed and just kind of running ability. Jalen's a little bit different body than Terrius, so it's really not very fair to compare those two together. They're kind of 2 different guys. So I've been pleased with their development. We need them to continue to get better. I think they've all taken the challenge through the off season and into fall camp to try and improve and be productive players for us.